Welcome to the Trailchasers podcast.
This episode is presented by Nexen Tire. We love the Rodian MTX tires, and we're super happy with the way they perform. If all goes as planned, next week we'll have Kevin Jones on the show to talk about how the Rodians did on his KOH run. Go to nexentireusa.com and get a set for your rig. And this show is also brought to you by Icon Vehicle Dynamics. The Icon team takes a holistic approach to their products to ensure that all the components work together and you get the most out of your vehicle. If you want to take your vehicle to the next level, go check out what they have for your rig at iconvehicledynamics.com.
Today on the show, we talked to Billy with Rocklander Project. He talks about overlanding and camping with his kids this past year during COVID. Then we get into how we met Billy at this year's winter expedition. With Tim, Billy, and myself on the trip, apparently campfire talk just sounded like a bunch of bears growling and wrestling in the woods. I thought we were just talking about baseball. You really missed out, Jose.
Well, bears don't really live in the woods, Matt, so we can try finding some. And we also talk about the show heading towards New Frontiers.
Oh, I get the pun. Okay, I see where you went with that. On the nose. Good job. All right, everybody, it is 6:30 Monday night, and we have Billy Slavins. I asked him 30 seconds ago how to pronounce it, and I forgot since then. Billy Slavins. I blew it already.
It's in English, so it's really tricky.
It's super weird. So Billy Slavins from Rocklander Project at rocklander.project on Instagram. And before we get started, I want to take you guys back to early December, sitting around a campfire, night one of the winter expedition. And we're all there talking, and there's a whole group of people, and we're all having this conversation about different things that have happened on the show and different inside jokes and all of that. And all of a sudden, Billy pops up and says, I don't even know who you guys are. I've never listened to this show and never listened to the show. I just saw an Instagram post that said we could go wheeling, and I ended up here. So that's the background of how we met Billy the first time. So I don't know if he's had the chance to listen to any episodes since, but thank you for coming on, man. How are you doing tonight?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So Winter Expedition 2020. We talked about it briefly when I first logged on to the feed. These guys were already in there telling stories about gummy bears, and I knew that that's how this conversation was going to start. But before we get to Winter Expedition and your experience there, tell us about you and what Rocklander Project is.
Well, Rocklander Project, honestly, it was just something cool to do with the kids. I grew up wheeling my whole life, and I'd already started taking my kids from a young age. In fact, when they were first born, I had an 87 4Runner, did a straight axle swap on it, doing a lot of rock crawling, and it was unsafe to have a couple newborns in the back seat with car seats and that thing. So we bought the Jeep. And
what you want to put them in more danger? I don't understand.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You want zero safety.
They're real little like that. They like tow trucks. So and like everybody else, we just weekend warriored it and did a lot of rock crawling and quick trips to Big Bear and stuff. But a couple years later, unfortunately, I went through a divorce and stuff, and we got rid of the Jeep. And then really shortly after that, my kids lost their mom. So I had them full time. I actually stopped working at the end of 18 to take care of my kids full time. And I got an amazing wife now who works and allows me to stay home and do this stuff. But we really made Rocklander Project so I could document all my trips and travels with the kids. That's why they're always with me, And that's why we had such a big year last year, was because with COVID and them not going to school.
Oh yeah.
You know, we took about 15 trips. We probably spent 4 months out of the year in camping and dispersed campgrounds all over the place.
That's amazing. How old are your kids? 9
twins.
Oh
wow.
Man.
Yeah. So
That's
boy, girl twins.
Dude, I can't even, that's, 4
Sounds
years.
That sounds like a TV show that you just started, like, so it's kind of like a mix of Brady Bunch and like Family Ties. I don't know, but it's just a whole sitcom about you guys going camping and different places.
Man. Say sometimes it's like that. If anybody was watching us, I'd just put my head down.
Where have these campgrounds been? Like all Southern California, or what's the radius that you've gone?
Arizona up to the northern tip of California, Southern Oregon. We did Red Lake, we did Coyote Lake, we did Mammoth, we did we even went farther than that. Bowman Lake, we did Laurel Lake.
A lot of lakes.
We did.
I get it. So lakes where there's water, you camp.
You guys like lakes.
Because you need an end game when you have kids. You know what I mean? So when you are taking kids, you want to have, they can throw rocks, they can fish. We bought a raft on the way up one time and blew up the raft and went out there. Paddling.
Okay.
With water, you always have activities. And so when COVID hit, February, March, we were going into the summer months, so we were doing all the lakes.
Okay.
So
were you able to like hotspot it and let the kids do school stuff while they were still in school, or did you plan it so that they didn't have to be online at all?
So early COVID, all school shut down, so they didn't have to do anything at that point.
Okay.
Then when school did come back in, they only go 2.5 hours a day. So then we would just bail on a Friday or take a Friday off.
Okay.
I mean, at this point, even who needs school?
Yeah. No, I mean, at this point, look, if you need to know how to do something, tell your kids to watch a YouTube video. They should be totally fine. Totally fine.
There's only one way to learn how to throw rocks, and that's to go find yourself a lake and start slinging rocks.
They can.
The way the world's going, they need to know how to shoot, start a fire, and catch a fish.
Yep. True.
That's it.
Very true. And they can put that on their resume. So what school do you go to? Look, man, I'll just YouTube this. I can figure it out. Don't worry about it.
Right.
So a boy, girl, 9 years old. You've got the JK. What year is the JK? Or
I got a JL. A 19.
And then you've got a rooftop tent, right?
No.
So how are all three of you?
Do you even know me, bro?
I am asking the questions. I am asking the questions for the audience. So what's the sleeping arrangements?
Man, the Gazelle.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, it's dummy proof, man. We throw that thing out. We all fit inside of it. Takes a minute to go up, a minute to come down. My daughter is expert level at rolling sleeping bags and sleeping mats, and it's perfect.
Dang.
My son's a typical boy. He usually just watches us. What do you want me to do?
I have two of them.
I was just going to say, Matt, how come his kids are helping out? What happened, man?
Right?
Man, I got to trade up, I guess.
And then so putting all 5 of us in the Jeep pretty much became impossible. So we got my wife a Jeep, and then she has a daughter. So I have a stepdaughter who's 12. When she gets there, she's good. It's getting there. That's the trick.
You put the stepdaughter in the car with mom, and then you're 2 in your car, and then that way she can deal with the are we there yet?
Have you tried Cody's method of using Benadryl?
Dramamine, dude. It was Dramamine.
For sure.
Both?
No.
Dramamine.
Both. That's for the ride home when they're cranky. You just give them
little of each. Just so that in case anybody's listening, I did not give my kid Benadryl.
Go to sleep.
I gave her Dramamine. I think the end result was the same.
We learned early my son got motion sickness. So a couple times on the way up the mountain, he would just projectile.
Yeah. So I was trying to avoid that for Presley, and I gave her a half of a Dramamine, and then we got to where we were going, and she said she still didn't feel good, so I gave her the other half, thinking, maybe it's. And then I had to literally hold her up for the remainder of the day as I'm trying to wheel through Rattlesnake Canyon. And she doesn't remember any of that trip, so no Dramamine for the 5-year-old.
Gotcha.
So these trips, as you're planning out these trips, like what is your how are you going about planning the trips with the kids and the family, and like, you know, picking the destinations and timing and all that stuff? What kind of stuff do you do to make that happen?
So I think that's a good question, and I'll tell you why. When you talk to everybody who's into overlanding or rock crawling, whatever you want to label it as, everybody says, well, I use Gaia, I use Onyx, I use this, I use that. The reality is, if you want your kids to be stoked and you want your family to be engaged, I pull up 3 or 4 or 5 different places on YouTube and show them other people's videos, the locations, the weather. You know, you can always find a video that was filmed in the time of season you're going to go. And I actually let them have the input. So cool. Say my daughter and I, we did a daddy-daughter trip just by ourselves. She wanted to go to Alabama Hills. And, you know, it's pretty basic. So I agreed to Alabama Hills, and then we went into the Mono Mountains. And it was like, when they have input, they get stoked on it, and then you can find the places. You know, we're driving, we're like, hey, that's the rock we saw, or that's the river we saw.
Yeah, that's a really good piece of advice. I've never gone that route.
Part of the adventure and feel like they have input. So that's what we've been doing. So say like YouTube or iOverlander, we'll find pins. We'll, you know, by no means do I get out there and spend 4, 5, 6 days planning these things. It's just, I like a certain area, I show them, they pick it, we go. It's that easy.
And are you at the point now? I mean, I would assume that with as much as you've done, you're pretty point and shoot. Like, you know exactly what you're taking, you know exactly where to put it, you know how it's going to get packed, you know what you know, from like a process, logistics perspective. Because I feel like like every time we go camping, there's enough time in between the last time we went camping and I've had some things change, and it's like a whole new process. Like I've never camped before in my life. That's why it takes so much stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so we have whittled it down pretty good. So we are good in that sense. However, there's always something. It's usually something I forgot. I put racks in the garage so I wouldn't forget that stuff. I forget it. you know, I charge everything except for the lights. So then we arrive at night, none of the lights turn on. So, I mean, there's still mistakes, but there's always a way around it. And at the end of the day, I was doing this stuff with my parents when that stuff didn't exist.
Yeah.
You figure it out. Your car has headlights, you know, but yeah, I mean, we've done pretty good getting all our stuff in there, but I'm still looking.
Have you since the winter expedition, we've committed to only camping 10 minutes next to Walmart. I found that to be very advantageous. Do you agree, or are you still going to venture away from Walmart?
So unfortunately, I am the opposite.
Oh no,
Walmart. That means Walmart people can find me.
Oh, that's true. Well, that's true.
Yeah. So,
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Well, but Matt has probably been on one of those Walmart people Instagram photos. I'm pretty sure he's like, that's their people. He's their people.
I might be a Walmart person, to be honest. I might have converted. I think I was like kind of an uppity.
You were Target. You were a Target guy, yeah.
Beforehand, and now I might have converted. Which means I have to wear super tight, stretchy pants whenever I go.
So hot.
And you not only like Walmart, but you picked Walmart in Parker as your bar. Like that's where you're setting your bar.
It's only up from here. Like you can't,
that's true.
That's pretty much. So it gets better. It gets better.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen, that worked out there, but no, I mean, unfortunately, once I get set up, I just like having everything. So I'm not big on pulling everything up and running to the store. then you spend money you don't need to. Then the kids want stuff. It's a whole nother battle.
I agree. And going back to the previous conversation about having everything set up, like if I felt like I had my shit together and I had a real plan every time we went out, like, yeah, I would want to get out far and not have to worry about it. But I always have this like impending feeling of forgetting something, or damn it, I wish I would have had, or whatever. Or I overbuy food that I'm never going to eat and I end up throwing away. I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to getting two things: getting better at having a plan, and then realizing once you get there, you don't need any of that shit anyways. Like, just, you know what I mean? You made the point about your parents, like you didn't have any of this stuff. You didn't have LED lights and you didn't have a super special tent and you didn't F it. Just show up with, I remember back in the day when we'd go to Pismo Beach for 4 days. I had a CJ7. The back seat came out of the CJ7, an ice chest, a tiny little barbecue, and a sleeping bag. That was it. Like, I wore the same clothes for 4 days. I ate hot dogs for 4 days, hot dogs and Pop-Tarts for 4 days. Like, there was nothing I needed. Now, all of a sudden, I need like 15 different things. And just in case it gets this cold, I'm going to bring this sleeping bag. You know what I mean? It's we've overcomplicated it. What's that?
It's for the gram.
Yeah, for the gram. But I think I have overcomplicated it, and I just need to pare it down to something simple.
There was no gram back in those days. It was just like Polaroids. Like, you had instant pictures. That was it. And then you could show people Polaroid pictures. That was it.
So
that was like the gram.
In the early 80s, my parents, they were, the one cool thing they used to do was take us across the Mojave Desert. They loved the Mojave Trail. They had a 79 Ford Bronco.
Nice.
And I used to try to explain to people, they would like make breakfast burritos and throw them on the engine, and we would drive the trail. And then 2 hours later, we're eating hot burritos or bean and cheese burritos or Spam sandwiches. Like, that was it. Fig Newtons was our...
Oh, I love Fig Newtons.
Right? And, I mean, that was it. I mean, they just bought enough of that we could live, and gallons of water, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then I'm out there like, I got to have a special rack. I got to have this rack.
Hold on. Wait till my scuttle gets to 285 degrees. I have to make sure. My scuttle's not at the right temperature to make this T-bone perfect. I don't. Yeah, you're right. It's. I remember one time we went camping.
First of all, I would like to apologize to Scottle for Cody's remarks. I would love to have a Scottle.
Scuttle's not a brand. Scuttle's a thing. It's not a brand.
That's Cody.
Cody hat.
Right? Isn't Scottle a thing? It's not a brand.
No, it's a brand.
Oh, is it?
No.
No, Timbo Tusk. Timbo Tusk is the brand, the big brand.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Scottle is the type of cooking thing. I wasn't disparaging anybody's. Yeah, I wasn't disparaging anybody's product.
No, but you gotta love when Scottle guys flip out when people call them woks.
We one time my buddy and I went camping. We were in our Jeeps, and I remember we went to the store. We had just like hardly any money, and we ended up buying, for whatever reason, a loaf of bread, and Nutter Butters. So for dinner and breakfast, we had Nutter Butter sandwiches. Literally put Nutter Butters in between two slices of bread, and and Mountain Dew. Nutter Butters, sandwiches, and Mountain Dew. That was like, I could survive on that, dude. That was my camp gear.
That sounds like high blood pressure and a heart attack or aneurysm.
When you're 22, you could pretty much do anything and not. Now, yes, I would probably be in the hospital if I tried to do that now.
Yeah, just opening up that pack of Pop-Tarts would probably wreck you.
So your house this weekend, Nutter Butters and Mountain Dew?
Nutter Butter, a Nutter Butter party. Yeah, I would be cool with that. So the kids get to help choose the destinations, and it sounds like they help break down. Do they help do the packing and the prepping and the mapping and any of those things?
So mapping's pretty basic. I pin it. That's it. So no, not really there. More packing, yes. Yeah, and I let them pack a toy bag, and I let them pack things that they think they could use there. My daughter, for whatever reason, collects sticks everywhere we go. She needs to bring them back to the forest. So,
yes.
And she names them all. It'd be like Todd and Stan. So those usually somehow get back into the Jeep, or we bring back more. I finally told her that the house was going to catch fire, and we got them. But yeah, I mean, they pack their toy bags. They help load the Jeep a little bit, but that part, you guys know how that is.
Yeah,
it's like sometimes it's more work than it is help.
Yeah. But
and then now everything's so compact and heavy, and the Jeep's pretty tall, so it's still like they're like 30-pound box, and they're like, Dad, and my fingers are smashed into the side. So that part I take on my own.
And you just stand back and laugh at them.
Yeah, no, film it for the gram. So the Jeep's pretty tall. So tell me about the Jeep. I mean, I've seen it. If you haven't seen it already, go to Rocklander Project on Instagram. But what have you done to the JL for these types of adventures?
Well, so I got 4-inch lift on it just for the weight. A lot of things are changing actually tomorrow. So let's just start with what we'll have on it tomorrow. So we're taking the Kings off and actually bringing it back down. I was running bigger tires, and then the first trip I brought it back with 37s was the winter expedition. Bringing it back down just to make it a little more kid friendly, drivability. I mean, my wife's on 37s, gets 20 miles to the gallon. I'm on 37s, I'm getting 12. I do have the boxes on top, so it looks like the rooftop tent. But so we put some roll boxes up top for all the extra gear. I do have the Goose Gear platform in the back, fridge. But where I lose all, normal drivability is JE reel drive shafts front and rear, 48 gears, braced front, RCV shafts. So we were rock crawling it a lot. But carrying all that weight and rock crawling it every trip we took, and 2 kids in there and me, it was putting a beating on it. So I started every trip I was taking, it was hurt, it was broke. So now I just want to make it a little more road friendly, because having a school bus when it was empty, it was like a little short bus. So we're going to lower it back down tomorrow. AEV 2.5-inch springs, AEV shocks, and just make it, it's still going to be big. It'll be big enough to go on good trails and streetable enough that the kids' teeth aren't rattling out of their heads getting there.
Is that where the Rocklander comes from? Because you were rock crawling and overlanding at the same time? And that's, you know what, I think the dream is that, right? The dream is I want to have the vehicle that can tackle the big trails and the big rocks and the obstacles, but also be capable of going on a 5-hour freeway drive to get to a place where I could camp for 4 days. The reality is, man, it's hard to do. It's hard to pick a platform.
Exists.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, you give up something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So for me, I'm in the gas station every 200 miles. So once I'm on the trail, I'm cruising.
Yeah.
But you're on the road for 90% of that time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, for people like the three of us, we daily drive ours. So it was like, okay, 37s, 35s, cool. But, I got to get to work and back every day. And to your point, it's going to break the bank. And, so you're dropping it down.
So it was for a long time because I don't daily drive it. So we were good. But after a year and like 15,000 miles, worth of trips, it was like everything was loose, needed to be replaced, needed to be upgraded. So,
well, look, just take the Toyota Land Cruiser approach, put a new part in every day, and that thing will run forever. That's all, right, Jose? Isn't that what is like? What should he do today? Change out the gooseneck. Change the gooseneck for your fuel filler, just in case. That's what Jose.
He's starting off right. He's starting with the suspension. He's going. He's changing all suspension out, and then we'll go with axles and stuff.
There you go.
So what are you when you're doing that and you're dropping it back down and making it, we'll call it less rock capable? Is there a part of you that's bummed about that, going to miss that, or do you think that you're now gearing the truck to be more in line with what you want to do?
So anyone who knows me knows it's still going on the rocks. The shop that I use, which is Adventure Off Road in Huntington Beach, I keep the lights on because I put it in the rocks. So it will still go. The thing that I'm trying to avoid is leverage. So because it is tall, because I do carry a lot of weight and people, and because the boxes are on top, I'm just trying to, it's really more of an experiment to see if this helps. If it ends up hurting it and I'm not getting to where I want to go, it wouldn't stay that way.
Yeah.
But Jeeps are modular. You know, the parts, you can kind of flip them around pretty easy. So we'll see how it goes.
And they've got great resale value for when you want to move into that Bronco or Ranger or something like that. I mean, that's one of those things to consider.
Gross.
That would be the other thing. I would talk about Fords, Foo Fighters, and mountain bikes every week to annoy Matt. That's where we're going to have those segments. Right. Do you have a trip coming up? What's the next trip coming up?
Actually, Land Rover Rich put together a trip.
Hey, Rich, so how you doing, man?
We're headed out to Death Valley in a couple weeks.
Oh, that's right. I think yes, I did see this. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that should be pretty fun.
Are you taking the kids on that one?
So that was a discussion. They just came back from their grandpa's today, so they just learned about the trip. So I'm giving them a choice on this one because it is nice to get away with adults sometimes. I mean, Rich. So I
was going to say you hung out with us, and I don't know how much adult time there was.
Zero.
It was more
zero.
Yeah,
time.
More.
So that trip was the first trip I didn't have my kids on. Probably
good choice.
At least one kid.
Super good choice
year.
on your part, sir.
Yeah.
That was
wise decision. I wasn't even there, and I'm telling you, it's a wise decision.
I'm no dummy.
We were able to freely fight about baseball all night if we wanted. It was awesome,
right?
To be fair,
I think we did.
Yeah.
To be fair, I gave a clear warning before a couple weeks before the trip. Like, it's not going to be child friendly. This is not a child friendly campfire.
Well, it's fun. Right? What's funny is I always want it to be family friendly. Like the trip during the day is always family friendly. Like we go out of our way to make sure. But once the sun goes down, there's a certain switch that gets flipped, or there's a certain top that gets popped, and it changes the dynamic of these. So if you bring kids onto these, and like Scott brought his daughter, just be aware that there's going to be a point around the campfire where you're going to have to pull the plug and go to your tent, because depending on who's there.
You might want to start a more family-friendly fire.
Yeah.
Closer to the
yeah.
It's
like when Sergio was sitting there and he had little Sergio with him. I was like,
oh my God.
I was thinking, I mean, if he's cool with it, I'm cool with it.
Yeah. I think let's be clear.
He the next morning, so I think he was okay with it.
Little Sergio is cooler than any of us, just so we're clear. Like, he's the coolest kid around. So we just got to be aware when we plan these trips that could be a possibility. Well, tell me about that. So not knowing who we were and not really knowing what the group was going to look like, how did the winter expedition stack up to your expectations for a weekend of wheeling?
Honestly, so it is cool to go dispersed. It's cool to do hard trails. It's cool to do all that stuff and duck off the grid. But especially with COVID and how everything's been, that winter expedition couldn't have been any better. To be able to get away, not have my kids for a weekend, have fun, have it be light enough that we could all just be ourselves and do our thing. It was awesome. It was much needed. I mean, taking that trip out to the desert bar, I'd never been there. That was rad.
Yeah.
You know, that whole area, that little billy goat trail hanging off the side of the mountain like we were.
I want to go back.
I know not all of us here did that trail,
but hey, somebody had to shepherd some of the kids back to camp, make sure they get back there.
Because with all the technology in those trucks, they couldn't have found
exactly. Mark and Eric had more GPS coordinate capabilities than all of us put together. So I think Matt, that was totally a Matt excuse thing. But no,
hey, I think the next day was tougher anyhow.
That's what I heard. Yeah, I didn't go on that one.
Back from the
listen,
bar.
the only thing tough about that next day was that old man in his tuxedo showing up.
getting badass. Somebody got on the radio and said, "Hey, man, tell your dad to get back in his side by side and get out of the way."
That guy, he was ready to shoot somebody.
He was surly. And he had his Canadian tuxedo brother next to him.
They have a polo tie?
No, he's all denim Dan.
Denim socks, denim jacket.
Yeah, but they have that Indian, that Native American bolo tie.
The leather tie thing.
Yeah, the little.
Yeah,
he probably did.
Man, he was ornery. And then he almost lost it. He had to show us all he was faster than us, and then he almost got launched.
Yeah.
Bad news.
That trip. I'm glad you had a good time. That trip was definitely needed, and I don't think it could have gone, to your point, could have gone any better. Like, we had some plans, we had to switch some things on the fly, but the group was like, everybody was on board. We just did what we needed to do, and it was super smooth and fun and easy, and everybody got along. And I want to go back. Because I know. The trip that we did, the 2 days of trails that we did, there's a dozen more routes we could go in that area and more places to see. And it was beautiful out there. And I definitely want to go hit that trail again. Obviously,
for sure.
Not summertime. I think that would be a bad idea.
Not the one with the stop signs, I hope.
Dude, the stop signs was fun. It was beautiful. Everybody got to see the stop sign in the desert. Screw you.
No, it sucked.
That's so random. How many people are out there that they needed to put those signs in?
I don't know, but it was
enough to where there's been an accident there.
Yeah, enough to where somebody took out the stop sign on the way back. Like, one of the stop signs was down. But yeah, I think that would be it'd be great to go back there again and explore more of that Arizona area. The original plan for that trip was to camp, 30 minutes north of where we actually ended up camping. And then we found out that there was another desert race thing happening out there that weekend. So there's a whole other side of that, where we were. If you went up and over the mountains to the other side, there's a whole other area with trails that we could hit as well. So I definitely think Arizona will be on the trip for the future for other expeditions.
I'm in.
I'm glad. And it's funny, like we'd kind of talked about it earlier before we started recording, where, that group, we had, I don't know, 20 rigs or so maybe 30 people. And there, you made connections with some people there that you didn't know prior to that, and now you're having normal interaction with them and planning trips on a regular basis, and that's kind of how these trips go for us. We plan, we have a group of people that we've hung out with before, and then new people show up, and the next thing you know, they're part of the normal group of people that we go wheeling with. So the problem becomes when we say, okay, we're gonna make it a max of 25 vehicles. Well, we've already got 25 vehicles already ready to go from the last time. How are we going to make this work? So we need to find ways to make bigger trips with more people if we can. So what, above and beyond like the off-road trails and the expeditions with the families and stuff, what other things are you doing right now that tie into the Rocklander project?
Well, like everybody in the world, we all got blindsided with COVID. So it was the perfect time to invest heavily into making a bunch of shirts I wanted to sell. So what I ended up doing was, honestly, it's not that I'm that great of a Samaritan, but I just felt bad. Everybody was stuck. We're doing okay. So we just ended up raffling off. I think we gave away like 70 shirts.
Wow.
So we donated them to raffles, which we did with your thing.
Yep.
We donated them in other raffles for other people's events. I did a ton of online stuff. I would let people message me and I would send them out stickers or shirts. So really last year was about getting through last year.
Yeah.
And if there was something that we could do as a family or as a brand, we gave away everything we had. And then I decided to reinvest and double down in the hoodies, which we did start selling some. and then I started raffling them off, and then we did sell some for the Desert Cleanse Desert Cleanse Project.
Okay.
So all the proceeds from those went to him, and I don't know if you guys seen what he does, but
No, I'm not familiar with Desert Cleanse Project. What is that?
So he just goes out into the desert with his truck and constantly picks up trash on his own dime, on his own time. And I mean, he keeps a pretty good record of it, but I mean, we're talking tens and thousands of pounds of trash they pull out of Joshua Tree all the time, monthly. So we donated to him because, I mean, we all wish we can do more of that.
Yeah.
So as of right now, the business model sucks. I mean, we're you know, we give everything we pay for, we give away over here. So we stock them deep and sell them cheap. And but in the future, when things do get a little better for everybody, for us, and a little more serious, I mean, I would like to consistently make things that we can sell, but I don't want to take it all that serious. You know, for me, it's a passion project with my kids, something that they can grow doing with me. If awesome things come our way and it turns into something, like, you know, the plan was to do a YouTube channel, of course. That's a lot of work, too.
It's a lot of work. It's even more work than a podcast.
And, you know, I don't like going with a lot of people. Most of my trips are with one of my good buddies, Juan, and that's it. And
One or Juan?
Yeah.
Shout out
right
to
on.
Juan.
Shout out to one.
And
number two?
one. And that's it. I mean, it's hard to film when it's just me and two 9-year-olds. But if you guys follow us on Instagram, you'll see
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's usually me and two 9-year-olds, and it's hard to film.
So I got lucky, man. Bronson kills it. He does take some cool video for me. He will walk across snowy gorges to take pictures of me. So he's been a trooper. He's taken some pretty cool stuff. But I wouldn't have that if I didn't have him with me.
Yeah.
We don't like to go with a lot of people. I did all that stuff a long time ago. It makes for long days. You don't get far. Lots of breaks. You know, I just want to enjoy myself. So that YouTube, man, that's a lot of work. But we're going to do some one takes here at the house, and I want the kids to be involved because I do think at the end of the day, if I had to categorize Rocklander Project, we do like the rocks, we do like overlanding, but most of all, I like my kids being involved. And I think a lot of parents, especially dads, they get overwhelmed with the idea of taking their kids out there, and it's so much easier than you think.
Yeah.
Just keep them warm, keep them fed, and take them someplace where there's something to do.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
Make sure there's a pile of rocks around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can get ready to throw.
Mud cakes and mud cookies. I mean, you just got to take them to a place they can do stuff. So it's not about always where you want to go and what you want to do. Take them places where they want to go, and then they'll always go. But you can burn them out real quick if you're going to places they're miserable.
Yeah. And I like the idea that you mentioned that it's a passion project and your biggest passion is the kids, and whether it be an off-road rig or a boat or an RV or something, the idea of having a hobby, a passion that you can share with your kids, I love that. Like I go back to, for years I rode motorcycles, and it's really hard to put a kid and a wife on a motorcycle. And, the off-road overlanding lifestyle lends itself to sharing that with family. Like, whether you document it on an Instagram page or a YouTube channel or a website or a blog or whatever, you'll have that to come back to as your kids get older and be like, yeah, remember that time we went to that lake and we did these things, And I think that's why a lot of people do this, is to, whether they consciously know it or not, is to be able to share this with their friends and family.
Absolutely.
I saw that's funny because I saw this meme just today on the gram where it's like, perfectly planned camping trips and set up tasks and challenges for my kids. and the one thing they remember is me cussing at somebody in traffic on the way there. That's the core memory of the whole thing. Not learning how to fish or build a fire or anything, playing catch. So yeah, it's funny.
I know my kids. They know life ain't fair. They've learned that one from me.
Yeah,
and that people.
Yeah.
It's usually what they hear is we're getting cut off on the 395 because I can't do 110.
Yeah. Because once you get up on the 395, ain't nobody slowing down for nothing.
No.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it is hard to categorize it, and it is something I do get asked all the time, and it is something that I wish I had like a more profound answer to. But really, that's what it is. Just like you guys getting together here, man. I mean, it's fun, and it takes you where it takes you, and as soon as you make it serious, it's not fun anymore. And if I wake up having to worry about, content to post or I have to get somewhere, it starts taking the fun out of it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I like, it can. There's nothing that says that it can't take you, to your point, take you someplace different. We have made connections, you being one of them. We've made connections in the with people in the community that we wouldn't have been able to make had we not done this show. We've had
Absolutely.
experiences in the industry and done things that wouldn't necessarily have happened without doing this and having these conversations with people on a regular basis. So, I think for anybody that has an idea for creating content or wants to document their family adventures, you never know what's around the corner. Just do it for you, though. Do it for you and your family and for the enjoyment, and then whatever happens.
Absolutely.
So you said YouTube is YouTube off because it's just too much work? You're not going to do it?
No. I mean, it's there. I put some clips on there in certain places we went. I just document kind of the time we were there for the same reason as, we look at other people's videos. So that way, if someone looks up that area, they'll see when we were there, what the weather was like. But they're all pretty short, like unedited. Usually me doing some knucklehead obstacle that I shouldn't be doing. And, and I got one of the kids running around with a safety vest on filming me.
Well, there's some, we've interviewed a lot of content creators that have really good YouTube content with the intros and the whole thing. And this, I love those YouTube channels, but I also think there's a place for the Matt cell phone dashboard video, like that's all Matt does.
Nobody wants to see that.
You know what I mean?
I've tried.
I do think that there's a place for that raw, unedited, 15 seconds, whatever, throw it out there. It's not, I don't think a successful YouTube channel has to have all of the back end production. Sometimes it helps. I'm sure it helps with algorithms, and I'm sure it makes it flashy. But I think you can literally throw up stuff, and whether you get 2 views or 2,000 views, at the end of the day, your kids are going to remember that time he was running around with a safety vest on.
Yeah. I mean, I do like the grassroots YouTube channels, like the ones that are just people filming what they're doing. I don't want to watch YouTube channels that look like an infomercial for a set of tires that, I like watching people's adventures. I like seeing where they went, and I like getting excited about going there myself. Mm-hmm. And I figure out how to get there and, narrow down the area and the time of year we want to go, and we set it up and go.
Do you ever get concerned about going out there on your own?
Yeah, I do. But I bring friends.
Got it. Point taken.
I'm never quite alone. But yeah, I mean, you have to, right? Because crazy things happen and crazy people are out there. And,
yeah, well, even beyond I would have less concern about the crazy and more concern about getting lost. I think more than anything, getting. I guess
of course you would.
Getting lost would be a problem for me. But I guess you're. Well, as long as your vehicle doesn't break down, you're fine.
Listen, we're in California, first of all, and there's not very many places in California you are just not going to be able to reach civilization.
Yeah, true.
And we do have the Garmin, the InReach
Yeah.
So we always have sat connection of some kind. We always check in at the house. If the wife's with me, we'll check into some family member somewhere that they at least knew our position. And with the Garmin, it's rad. People can log in and actually just see where you go. So if you're moving around, someone's always watching. But yeah, I mean, we do try to be safe. Obviously, if it's me by myself with the kids, we're not going too hardcore. It's more of a journey than it is a hard trail. But I haven't felt like we've gone too far and out of reach from any kind of help. And the Garmin does help a lot with that. It's, there's someone on the other end, fairly quickly. So that's pretty cool.
And I wonder from a parent perspective, this may be a little bit too profound for this show. Hold on, John. Okay, it went away.
Dang.
I'm beat. I'm so tired.
You.
I work hard.
From a from a parent perspective, I wonder the exposure for your kids to get out into the world, away from civilization, even if it's just for a little bit, and your willingness to do it with little hesitation and going to explore. Like I wonder from a development standpoint, like how does that impact your kids? Like, are your kids going to be more adventurous growing up? Are they going to be not afraid to take that job opportunity in Texas? Those kinds of things. Like and I'm not saying it's good or bad or either. I just,
sure.
The fact that you're doing so much of this with your children, I have to believe that it's going to have some kind of positive impact on them down the road, having that experience.
I hope so. I mean, so we live in Orange County, and I mean, it's tic-tac houses everywhere, right? Everywhere's a housing tract. We live in a little neighborhood here. A lot of people don't take their kids out like we do. And so this is what's normal to them. I love rolling into old ghost towns, old mining towns, even just something cool like Lone Pine or Bishop, or just seeing these places that aren't like what they see every day, letting them know that these shifty old characters that live in these crazy one-bedroom houses, I mean, they're people too. They're Californians. They're Americans. You're going to run into different people all over the place. My favorite thing is just having them run into these people that to us are weird, but a resident of BFE, Arizona is normal. So I love them getting that exposure. That there's just so much out there for them to see. I love when we see wildlife. I love when they get to see different snow. My son always goes nuts. He's always like, "This is real snow, Dad." It's not all icy like Big Bear snow after 2 days. It's just he can jump in it and dig his fingers in it. It's like, that's the cool stuff that, if they weren't out there with me doing that, I don't want them to be like 26 and they got a girlfriend and he's got a girlfriend and she's like, "Oh, you don't know about camping?"
Well, and I think you're right though. Like it's super easy for us, especially today in the world of technology, right? I can literally lose myself behind the screen of a computer and spend an entire day working on something. To get the kids out there and expose them to weird neighborhoods and weird people, and I think that it just broadens the perspective of the world for them. And the things that we do, the places that we go, those are places that 98% of the population, even though they're the same distance away from it that we are, 98% of the population isn't going to go see that mine out on that trail in Mojave just because they don't even know it exists, right? So I hope that, as my daughter gets older and she wants to do more of this stuff and she appreciates the experience, that it's something more than just, to your point, the same track homes that we live in, and go to Target and go to school and whatever. I love to hear you talk about how that you're experiencing this with them.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely were my motivation. And it's funny because what saved it all, no sponsors here, was that Gazelle Tent, man. Just being able to have that easy thing to set up and break down. When
it was that significant.
For me, it was huge. Those Coleman tents and all the bendy posts and trying to get, you know what I mean? Like you need 2 adults or you need 15, 20 minutes. There's nothing cooler than
not mine.
Drive wherever you want and just throw that thing over there. And it just made all the difference because it was easy and it wasn't work. And we could drive until it got dark and set it up and keep moving. It was awesome.
No, I picked up it's like a Coleman 1 minute tent. That thing it's a minute. Like it pops open and you're ready to go.
Yeah, I think that's appropriate for you. 1 minute.
Well, that's about right. Yeah.
If you're lucky,
you already know.
On a good day.
Yeah. Depends on how many beers he's had.
Right, a minute in and a minute tent.
Yep. Well, I don't disagree. Like I've been recently talking about getting a trailer, turning it into an overland trailer with either a rooftop tent or something for the simplicity. Like if it was just, man, I'd back up the trailer. All the gear's already in there. There's already all I got to do is put some drinks and food in it. We would go down to Huntington and camp for the night or San Clemente or San Onofre or whatever. But like to do that now with a wife and daughter, it's like, okay, hold on. Let me make my checklist of all the things that I need to pack and make sure that I've got, you know what I mean? I want that simplicity. I want the easy, throw these 2 crates in and a sleeping bag and we're out. You know what I mean? I want to be able to do that because there's so many places here in Southern California where you could literally 45 minutes from home be camping.
Absolutely. Well, think about it. Take the 20 biggest overlandy, off-road, rock crawl, Rocklander YouTube channels, right? They all make it look easy and they edit them out and everybody's got a rooftop tent and everybody's got the common denominator with 18 out of 20. There's no kids.
Yeah.
Everything looks easy when you don't have kids.
Well, like I said, Pop-Tarts and Nutter Butters, I'll sleep in the cab of my truck. Like I'll go anywhere when I was in my 20s, you know.
It's like if you're cold, you'll deal with it, and if you're hot, you'll figure it out.
Or if it's cold, I'll go home. Like if you're mad, you'll give. If your CPAP doesn't work, you'll quit. You'll quit on the entire weekend and go home.
Trip's over.
That's right. If I'm too cold, or I can't sleep, or I'm too hot, or I can't sleep, it's time to go home.
Or there's no food, or you can't sleep, or you run out of beer, you can't sleep. But no,
again, I don't have to worry about running out of beer if I hit Walmart within 10 minutes. So that's my future plans are solid.
Yeah, I don't know. But with that road, though, it was like a 50-50. We're going to blow a ball joint. I don't know if the Walmart runs.
Well, in a Jeep, yeah. In a Jeep, yeah.
I have a Nissan.
Yeah.
I have a Nissan.
Yeah.
I was doing Mach 2 over that.
He
not a problem.
He literally was like a Tatooine land speeder about 6 inches off the ground all the way out to Walmart. Just so he didn't come back down until he turned onto the highway. That's the way it worked.
That's right. That's right.
But you're right. That road was... We'll say it was maintained at some point in history in the last 100 years. There was some maintenance there, but
it was it was new. It was nice.
Yeah.
There was like a cattle like grid or something like in the weirdest spot. Like I think they could still walk around this if they wanted to.
Right.
At one point, so there's when you first come off the highway to go down that road, there was, I would say 100, 200 yards in, there was a railroad track, and it was the typical, like it goes up to the railroad track and then drops back down. And every time we went by there, Matt and I were having a converson about jumping it. We're going to jump it.
I'm going to jump it.
And then at the last night, I had my nephew and his buddy in the car. I had my nephew, can't remember if he had a friend with him. Yeah, he did. My nephew and a buddy in the car. And we went to the store and we came around the corner and I was like, I'm doing it. And I launched the Ranger over that. He shit himself. The backstory there is I started getting cupping on my tires and I had to take it to the shop. And they're like, "Oh yeah, the front end alignment was so off on this thing." So that trip between the rock trails and the jumping of the railroad tracks, I completely blew out the front end alignment completely and had to get it redone. So, pro tip: don't do that.
Yeah, running in there at night was pretty surprising. The first one I hit, and everything in the Jeep launched out the window. I was like, "Wow!" But yeah, man. I mean, that's kind of where I do see such a shift in what people want you to see and what reality is, what, everybody's posting and the awesome pictures. I like knowing that anything I post all the content that I use, there's kids there. You know, anywhere we're at, they're there. You know, I do post some of I don't put them on there a whole lot. It's funny because if I post something of the kids, it's like it doesn't get much reaction or conversation, but I will get a lot of DMs of people saying like, hey, what's your advice with getting kids out there, what to do and what's that? But it's almost like because this hobby has gotten so big and so glorified and there's such a needing of acceptance, people are scared to say like, dude, I'm a little nervous about taking my kids out there, or what are some of the things, you know, so they don't want to ask that question on the content. They want to ask you privately. Well, and for me, it's like, dude, this is why we do it.
Yeah.
If you can't pass this on to your kids, you know, this is why we do it. So please ask.
Yeah.
I got 9 years. I mean, they started going out with me at 6 months to about a year. They started doing day trips, rock crawling. By 3, they were in the snow. We were camping. And by 5, 6, they were doing a week at a time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's always been awesome.
And I think that that reluctance to ask the question expands beyond the kids. It expands into asking questions about what trails to go on, or asking questions about what upgrades to do, or asking questions about what kind of gear to have. Like, and I don't know if it's a result of the popularity and Instagramification of the hobby itself, but we talk about it a lot. Like, we all started someplace. We have people that listen to us every week. We have a lot of listeners and a lot of downloads, and we still on a regular basis talk about how we don't know what the hell we're doing. Like, that's the reality of what it is. Every time we go camping, I feel like I'm camping for the first time. We go out wheeling, we have a great time, but there's plenty of times where I'm like, I don't even know if I'm going to make it over this. There's plenty of maintenance related issues or vehicle related issues.
Ford joke there. Never mind.
But no, I mean, I don't.
It was easy.
I don't. I hope that people realize that regardless of how big the hobby is or how many people are doing it or what it looks like online, like, you don't have to be an expert to do this. You don't have to have 40-inch tires to do this. Just have fun. Just start small. Go ask to go. I love it. We did Mojave Trail a couple years ago, two trips ago, and one of the people with us, they had a vehicle that they had never taken off road. They had never aired down. They had never put it in 4-wheel drive. We're like, yes, come on, you're coming with us. We're going to have a good time. Like, I love that because I love sharing this with other people, and I want them to get out there.
By the end of the trip, towards the Kessel Run end of the trip, he was hauling ass.
Yeah, he was.
He was keeping up with me. He was right behind Donato that final stretch. I was like, dude, you didn't even know about airing down 2 days ago, and now you're running the Kessel Run like at Mach 3. Right? It was great.
But I mean, even if you're experienced, bad things happen.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it goes both ways. Dude, believe me, no one in this house wants to hear about me bitching about how much stuff I broke this weekend. Or I don't want to put anybody on blast, but we had that guy with us in his 4Runner with his family in it, right? And you know, he made a slight mistake and drove that thing into the ditch. And Rich and we winched him out.
Yeah,
but he's been on trails before.
Oh yeah,
things happen.
It does.
What? He was fine.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, things happen to all of us. And then everybody there will jump out of their truck, point, laugh, take some pictures, and then help you get over it. Like, that's just how this works. Yeah. Like, you know, the goal is that everybody gets through it safely and has a good time. It's not, you know.
If that were me, I'm gonna apologize to that person. But if that were me and I had to get pulled out in the frontier, I would have just punched it down that ravine. Just F it. I'm going to find a way out down at the bottom of this bitch. There's no way somebody's pulling me out.
Because you know, we all would have stopped and every camera that was available would have filmed all of it just to make fun of you.
Yeah, it would have been never ending. There would have been podcasts, like entire shows created to talk about. And let's
be honest.
YouTube channels.
At the time, both you and Tim were in the frontier. So if one of your tires had gone into that ravine, you weren't stopping it anyways. You guys were going all the way down, no matter what you did. That wasn't going to happen. What else, dude? What other things are you working on? Is there anything else that you're excited about coming up other than the upcoming changes to the vehicle?
Well, I'm glad you asked. So my buddy Sam and I, which is Sam is I Am Rocklander on Instagram, we are starting a podcast.
Okay.
Which is Rocklander Nation. And really it's just, to tell our tale. And, he's got the gift of gab. I just talk a lot of shit.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. For you to express that somebody else has the gift of gab, I don't know what that means, because again, you showed up not knowing anybody but Rich on that one trip. By the end of the trip, we're all like, have you hung out with Billy yet? It's hilarious.
Well, I like to party. So I got that going for me. But yeah, I mean, that's what we got coming up next. So we are we're gonna do our shtick on the February 24th, and we're gonna upload it and publish it on March 5th. So of course on Instagram we'll start putting that out as soon as it gets close, and hopefully we can do something pretty cool with it. Maybe get the kids on there, let them tell their story, their side of it, have people on. Just like I said, nothing too serious, but just have fun. I mean,
what drove that? What made you decide to do that?
I think so. We didn't coin the term Rocklander, of course. Somebody else came up with that. It's brilliant. We kind of ran with it. Like I said, I Am Rocklander. I'm Rocklander Project. But at the end of the day, he is one of those guys on 40s, by the way. So he's on his 40s and his 1-tons, and he was out doing Chocolate Thunder this weekend, full-bodied JK. And,
hey, look, what he does on his own time is his time. We don't need a subscription for that. whatever he wants to do with his 40s and his Chocolate Thunder, you let me know where the OnlyFans is. We'll log in.
So, he's got a fridge in the back and wants to do long trips too, and we've done them. And I think the more people can hear that it is simple, that it is just for fun, that it is for family and for friends, and not all, at the end of the day, it just comes back down to it's not all that serious.
Yeah. It's
not about making helicopters come in and film you driving down the Alabama hills next to the Priuses and the Teslas. It's just going out and having fun, going to the places you want to go and hearing the stories about it and getting you motivated to do the same thing.
Yeah, I like the fact that you've got both ends of the spectrum. So we've got a buddy Joey D that's on 40s, and he comes on every one of our trips. He can rock crawl all day. All he wants and blow us out of the water on those kinds of trails. But he comes out and does the 2-3 day trips with us just as easily. So you can have that. When I was saying something earlier about the 40-inch tires, that's not saying you can't do this on 40-inch tires.
Sure.
You can. You can do it on 31-inch tires too. Matt did it for 2 years on stock Frontier tire. I mean, I think that's what the similar message that you're sending is, that there's no real tried and true, like you have to do it this way and you have to have these things and you have to have this experience. It's all you make it up as you go.
What's funny is it's like a balance. Where if you're on 31s, you're in a stock Nissan and you hit anything off-road, it's like crazy. But if you're rolling 40s and you're on the highway doing highway speeds, it's like equally crazy as a guy.
I'm going to die.
Yeah,
Right?
Totally. It's like a ratio or something. There's
inversely proportionate.
It just comes down to so many people see, the whole YouTube 10 years ago was like you were saying, like the dashboard cams, everybody driving, the picture was shaking, but you didn't get to really see what went on in it because it was always in the dash. And then somewhere along the line, it did become a cash cow. It did become popular. It did become, what do you have in your ride and what do you have? And so anybody getting into it now sees and thinks, God, that's complicated, or that's an investment. That's what I hear a lot. It's like, dude, you don't need anything but gas and food.
Yeah.
Just go. But they don't
there's
see
definitely
that
a
anymore.
perception. There's definitely a perception that you need all these things to go do whatever it is we do. I mean, you don't need every single thing from the Bass Pro Shop catalog. I mean,
Right?
Cody takes it, but There's no need.
That's
for
just
it.
because I have anxiety about not having stuff. Like, I'll take 2 pairs of thermals, even though it's summer, just in case I get cold. Like, that's the kind of packing I do. But yeah, you're right.
Damn it! We were going to have shish kebabs tonight, but I didn't have enough skewers.
No, there's about 10 skewers that stay in my kit at all time. But yeah, you're right.
I saw my kids the first time we had them use regular sticks for the marshmallows. Like, dude, it's a stick.
Yeah,
Nice.
They're just like, is this safe?
Yeah. But
the marshmallow kills anything that might have been growing on that stick. Don't worry
for sure.
If you can process this, you're good.
This is a test for the rest of your life.
Building up immunities. You're right, and I think we've all had the conversation, and this is not a detrimental comment, but Expedition Overland, when they really started growing and they put the cinematic twist on what we were doing, and they went through all of the things, they exposed a huge portion of the population to the adventuring, but there's the certain drawback to that was, I think you're right, people looked at that and went, wow, I can't do that because I don't have that type of vehicle or that type of phone or that kind of GPS or that kind of thing. And I think it's almost like those people are pros, right? Just because you watch the pros play basketball doesn't mean you can't shoot hoops with your buddies, right? I think that's the way I would equate that. Like, you can have a pickup softball game, doesn't mean you're the LA Dodgers. I mean, although pretty much anybody that plays a pickup softball game could play on the Dodgers.
Sandwich.
Yeah, speak for yourself.
Yeah,
but think about what they're doing. They're going on weeks on end, like, expeditions.
Right.
So they need to have like backups for their backup.
Yeah, most and of us international travel a lot of it, which is a whole nother ball game.
And most of us here do just day trips.
Yeah,
I want to say like 90 to 95% of what people do are just day trips to their nearest trail or whatever.
Yeah, I would love to be able to go on those week-long expeditions. And But just because I don't have the time or resources to do it doesn't mean I'm not going to get out there and still adventure.
But it's like, even now when you guys go out on the trail or we do go camping, I mean, how many people do you see that are truly stock out there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that right there in itself. Like, first of all, you could do the Mojave Trail stock.
A stock Jeep Renegade. Stock Jeep Renegade.
When you're on Instagram, it's like, oh, Mojave prep. It's like, what are you prepping for?
Exactly. Your gas card?
My wife's Dodge Durango is all-wheel drive. I could take that thing on the Mojave. I just don't want to have to clean it afterwards.
Mojave prep is the ATM machine when you're in Laughlin looking for the poker.
No, if you're Matt.
Pull out about $100.
If you're Matt, Mojave prep is get extra bungee cords to keep your tote full of toilet paper in the back of your truck, so it doesn't end up on the trail.
Well, that is essential.
Yeah, toilet paper was a hot commodity too when it happened. All the toilet paper was flying around. That was a good time.
Yeah, if anything, the thing I've gone through the most through all of this is all those goddamn fold-out toilets.
Oh, really?
Being a full-size guy, those things don't last very long.
I have one of those. It's called like Green Elephant or something like that, and it's one of those fold-out and you just put the bag in the middle of it. I've had it for maybe a year and a half, no problems at all. But of course I didn't do 15 trips. Yeah, dude, I'm not a lightweight. I'm not like
if you bulk up to 300 pounds, you can probably test its limit.
Just another reason, guys, to stick near Walmart. They had bathrooms. Right? That might have been the best thing about Walmart being nearby.
Oh, yeah. So that's probably the one thing I've gone through the most, is all the different ways of how to use the bathroom when we're out there.
Just get one of those Home Depot buckets with the lid on top.
Yeah, they have the lid. They have the lid on top.
They have the lid thing on top.
Yeah.
No? I know that's sturdy enough. That's got to be sturdy enough.
Oh, listen, it's sturdy enough, but that's a pretty small hole.
What? I think that's a whole nother OnlyFans page. To the fact that a 5-gallon bucket is you have concerns about hitting that target.
Yeah, you gotta worry about that splatter pattern. You know?
Yeah, you got to remember, size is all relative, boys.
That's true.
Oh wow, interesting.
Right?
So with that, good night.
Yeah. The podcast. Are you going to be building any back end website or blog or anything like that for that, or just primarily keeping the audio posted?
So as of now, from my understanding, is it's mostly going to be the audio with trying to link it up to YouTube and just having it stay there. So it's pretty new for us as well. We've only been talking about it for 6 months, so we haven't had that much time to figure it out.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, this is episode 162, I believe, and we haven't figured it out. So anything we can help you not figure out, you just let us know, and we will tell you the things that we've done wrong so far.
You're the model.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're basing everything on.
We're hoping by episode 200 we'll make sure we have a plan in place if we get that far.
Hey, at least I'm not using my kids' headphones.
Yes, I'm so glad. I thought about you today when we were having that text back and forth about working remote. I'm like, I guarantee Matt is going to grab a set of headphones from the office before he leaves.
I could still put them on if you want.
They were adorable. They were absolutely adorable.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was full rookie over here. I was trying to figure all kinds of stuff out, and then at the end of the day, just letting the laptop do its thing is what works.
Yeah. That will be so. My podcast advice, right? It's similar to overlanding. You can get way deep into it. You can build soundproof room. You can do all of the things. At the end of the day, a video.
If you have a cell phone,
yeah.
If you have a cell phone, and that headset, you're good to go.
Yeah. At the end of the day, make sure the call quality or the recording volume is as good. I mean, quality is as good as possible. So you have to do as little editing as possible afterwards, and you're good. The good content outweighs technology, and then you can build on it as you go. I started with nothing but a computer and a microphone, and then when Matt came on, I had to add a little bit more for that, and then when Jose came on, I had to add a little bit more for that. But we've been going for over 100 episodes with the same setup. I don't see us having to ever expand any further than this. Yeah, we could spend like these microphones. I think were $30 or something like that when I bought them. They're not $800 Shure microphones. You don't need that stuff. Just sit down, have good conversations, and the rest of it will work itself out.
Well, that's what I'm hoping. I mean, as long it's like what Matt and I were talking about before we got on here was golf. As long as it's fun, that's what it's there for. But as soon as it gets serious, it's just going to get harder and harder, and I don't want it to be that. So we'll see how it goes.
And you don't want to have to start breaking your equipment, because that's I got to that point where you start spending enough money on clubs. You're like, all right, I can't just snap this pitching wedge just because I chili dipped it this time.
Well, you got to put tennis gloves inside your bag.
Okay.
Matt,
throw those in the water.
Do they have to be innocent gummy bears inside that bag?
Matt has seen me chuck a set of clubs more than once, unfortunately.
Can I give a shout out to McLovin?
To what?
To McLovin?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. You can shout out to whoever you would like to do that to.
I love that guy. Hopefully next time he stays around until the morning.
Okay. Oh man. So when did you say the podcast is coming out? When should we?
March 5th.
March 5th. So you're recording the first episode on the 24th and releasing it on the 5th?
Yeah.
What's the first episode going to be about? Do you know?
I think it's just an introduction. Really, myself, Sam, a little bit of our backstory, the knucklehead stuff we do, and go from there. Like Elvis said, man, keep them wanting more. So
my recommendation would be stay away from In-N-Out talk. If you start talking about In-N-Out and Five Guys, Well, actually, I mean, that might get you a lot of attention.
Yeah. People get mad about that. I have found that a lot of people want to hear about mountain bikes as much as possible, except for Matt, which.
Why are you so angry, Matt?
You want me to tell you why Matt's angry? He doesn't want to be put in a position where he has to pedal anything. That's what it comes down to. I
don't want to hear about it either. Who wants to hear about riding bicycles?
It's fun.
Guys who ride bikes?
Yeah.
All right. You guys enjoy yourselves. You guys enjoy yourselves. I'll tune in next week.
Listen, if I can get out there, you can get out there. We could hook up ropes to our bike and pull each other. Let's do it.
Is that how it works?
You guys need to pull each other?
Oh my God. I would pay money. I would pay money to see that.
Is that how it works though? You just two big guys with one rope and then you magically move without pedals?
Two guys, one rope.
Two bikes, one rope.
Oh no. No, this is all bad.
You just sit backwards and we face each other.
Nope, we're going the wrong direction here, guys. This is all going. See, this is the conversations around the campfire. This is how they start. Next thing you know, that's so we got to keep an eye out. Where are people going to be able to find the podcast on March 5th?
So my Instagram. And I'll let you know.
So,
what's the frequency going to be like?
Project on Instagram.
You guys doing this weekly, monthly, bi-weekly?
I think we're going to start out monthly.
We're asking a lot of questions that I don't think Billy has the answers to.
I'll pretend really good.
Well, that's exciting. I think that we've talked about this before. There's plenty of ear space for different stories to be told and for different perspectives. I'm sure that you guys will have some good stories to tell, especially when it comes to talking about going out with the kids and how you guys do that and sharing the experience with your family. So I will be keeping an ear out when it is ready to release. Let us know so we can help promote it for you.
Well, I really appreciate that. That'd be awesome. Yeah, man, I think it'll be cool. And I think to get the kids involved would be even cooler. Mm-hmm. And I think more people that understand that most guys out there are like us, all of us here, and just want to have a good time and, throw in a little exploring with a little bit of drinking and a little bit of storytelling and a little bit of camping.
That's a lot of good times right there.
Well, another thing taking it back to a half hour ago, you talked about going out in those areas where you see people that, you might think are weird, and you come to find out they're great people, right? I think I've told this story before. I got into the motorcycle industry for a while, and I was more on the, I had a cruiser, but I really liked the sport bikes. And I found myself at this bike, motorcycle bars, like Hell's Kitchen and Cook's Corner. And everybody there is bearded, tattooed, leather, the people you see in movies that you're like, come on, honey, let's cross the street because I'm a little bit, they're the coolest people. They're nice. They will help anybody. The minute you take your preconceived notions of what people are and throw them out the window and just give them an opportunity to have a conversation, 98% of the time, they're just going to be decent people you can hang out with. So I think people in the off-road overlanding world, they may seem rambunctious or seem like a type of person that you might not want to hang out in your personal life with. I guarantee, give them an opportunity to have a conversation and you'll be surprised. We enjoy having fun with each other and doing things where everybody gets along and helping each other on the trail, regardless of any of those other things. It really is inspiring to get the community together. And I think, once people see that, they're hooked.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. I mean, that's all it is. It's getting out there will absolutely turn on how you feel about so many things. We rely on cities so much for so many things. You know how cool it is when you walk into one of those old markets and everything you're buying is covered in dirt?
Yeah.
But it is cool. It's like finding old animal crackers to buy the kids or just wacky local produce that you don't see at home.
Another test for their digestive system. If you can make it through these 20-year-old animal crackers, you're probably okay.
Yeah, he said wacky produce. If I can't recognize what it is, I'm not buying it, man. Just so you know.
Carrots, But I mean, it's just, you go to different areas, you see different things, and honestly, this day and age, it's so easy to stay in your neighborhood, so easy to stay home, and it's like, just get out there,
100%,
and take your kids with you. Don't dump them, then go. Bring them with you. Yeah. It's the best.
That's the only way I can go on half of our trips. I have to bring my kids, so have to. Yeah. I think. I was going to say, it's funny how Cody's talking about, like, you go to these rough and tumble looking bars and they're the nicest people and whatever. And then Cody runs across some dude who went over his bars this weekend. He just laughed as he
no. There was already 12 people around the dude. What was I gonna? There was a truck pulling up to pick up his bike, and I didn't laugh. I felt bad because I knew what surgery. I knew what surgery he had in his future. I just did it, and I was like, What I should have pulled over and told him was, "Hey, dude, after the surgery, and you think everything's taken care of, wait 4 months. You're going to get a random ass bill in the mail that says you still owe somebody $200 for some shit that wasn't covered 6 months ago for your surgery." Look, don't take this the wrong way, people, but if you work in the billing industry, the medical billing industry, I hope all of you go out of work immediately. I cannot stand medical billing. It's like, if I had to choose between the DMV and medical billing, I would just kill myself because neither of those are conducive to a happy life. I hate medical billers. I hate all of them. I want them all to be unemployed. I want worse things to happen than unemployment, but I'm not going to go down that route. This is a family-friendly show. So if you're in medical billing, lose my number. Stop listening to the show. Don't. Damn it. Yes, thank you, Jose.
I want to promote. I got a medical billing company.
Funny you should mention that.
I fucking hate medical billers. They're assholes, every single one of them, and I'm fucking tired of getting their bills.
Double right there. So I think if you go up and talk to that guy who just wrecked his shoulder on his bike, you probably offer to buy that bike from him. You know you don't want this bike. I got a couple $100 in my back pocket.
You got some expensive bills coming up, bro. Let me help you with that.
That's right.
I like that he went by slow enough. He's like, I saw him trying to put his shoulder back.
Yeah. Because I knew. Because I'm telling you, as we were coming, ask Jose, as you're coming down that hill, you're like, oh, wow, I could see that up. And I slowed down and went over the first one. And then the next one was even gnarlier. So I leaned way back and slowed down and came over it. And as I came through and I saw all the people gathered around the guy, and like I said, a truck came around the corner to pick him up, I could just see him holding his shoulder. I was like, that's a rotator cuff surgery. Let me tell you how much that's going to cost. So
it wasn't a Frontier picking him up, was it?
No.
Probably coming in to save the day. Dude. old dependable Frontier. That's right.
Billy, thank you for joining us. Stick around for a minute. We'll have some post end conversation. But thanks for joining us. We had a great time meeting you out at Winter Expedition, and we're hoping we get to hang out with you again on another trip in the near future.
Absolutely, we will.
All right, thanks, man.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, are you looking to upgrade your PC, whether it be for gaming or for video production or whatever your needs are? Go to evga.com and check out their products. They make top-of-the-line graphics cards, power supplies, gaming keyboards, audio cards, cooling systems, accessories, cases, motherboards, you name it, they've got what you need to build a PC. They've stepped up and helped us build a really solid machine for the streaming that we've been doing on YouTube. And if it wasn't for these guys, we'd still be fumbling around trying to figure it out. Please support them. Go to evga.com. At checkout, use the code Trailchasers, and you can get up to 10% off anything you purchase. So go to evga.com, use the checkout code Trailchasers to get a discount. Thanks, EVGA.
You're listening to a 4x4 Radio Network podcast.
The Trailchasers podcast is a member of the 4x4 Radio Network. If you want more off-road shenanigans in your ear holes, go to 4x4radionetwork.com to hear episodes of the Jeep Talk Show, the 4x4 podcast, the Center Steer podcast, and On the Trail with Kevin and Scott. All right, thanks to Billy at Rocklander Project for coming on. We had a lot of fun hanging out with that guy in Arizona. I'm looking forward to being able to hang out with him again sometime soon. Especially, he's super local, so there's no reason why we can't make that happen.
I knew he and I were like kin or whatever, because he made a comment about, dude, I love you're wearing your softball shoes to out camping.
Yes.
You know it. I played some ball, and then we started talking about softball for like an hour. It was great. Billy's great.
Yeah, between you, Billy, and Tim, we could have filmed a new Grizzly Adams episode and started a whole new television show.
Missed opportunity.
Big burly men's. All right, we have a couple voicemails. I think both of them are from Tim. I have not listened to them, so I apologize in advance for whatever it is Tim's about to say. Hold on, let's see where this goes.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Tim with Real Rigs Rattle. I was just listening to your latest podcast about the Pathfinder, and I think you guys are wrong. I don't think it's going to be a unibody like a Jeep Renegade Cherokee fighter. I think it's going to be a body on frame. Today's 2/3, day before the announcement, and I think you can go ahead and put me on record as saying that it's basically just the Xterra that got announced for the Middle East, which is based on the Terra from China. And that rides on the same platform as the Frontier, so you can mark me down for that prediction. Really enjoy the podcast, guys. Keep it up.
All right, so I bet that was Tim. So that was Wednesday, and I bet this next one from Tim is him following up. Tim from Real Rigs Rattle following up on the prediction. Did you look? I don't even know what it was.
Okay, so I'm confused. He said that we said the Frontier was going to be a unibody, which I don't think we said.
Well, I don't think I ever said unibody, but what I had said was it was a direct competitor.
Pathfinder.
Yeah, not the no, he's talking about the Pathfinder, not the Frontier.
No, but he said Frontier.
No. He said that the Pathfinder. He said that we predicted
he keeps saying Frontier though.
No, he didn't.
But I think he means play it again.
No, he didn't.
He keeps saying
Hey,
Frontier.
what's going on, guys? This is Tim with Real Rigs Rattle. I was just listening to your latest podcast about the Pathfinder, and I think you guys are wrong. I don't think it's going to be a unibody.
Okay, you can stop it now. Thank you.
Yeah.
No,
You called yourself out.
Yeah, what I was saying was that I thought the Pathfinder was going to be along the lines of the Cherokee as a unibody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
It is unibody.
And he was saying that he thinks it's going to be basically the Terra. Remember, I told you I saw one of those Terras in Arizona that's a body on frame. So his prediction was body on frame, and then so that was Wednesday that he called, and he called Thursday. Hold on, let's see what this next message is.
Hey guys, it's Tim with Real Rigs Rattle again. You go and delete that last message. I'm an idiot. The Pathfinder looks like warmed over trash. Pro 4 expert here is looking good though. Keep up the good work, guys.
Oh, Tim, that was fantastic.
That's perfect.
I think the new Pathfinder looks great for what it is.
Awesome.
I think it looks great, and I think that they instead of making it a grocery getter commercial, they make it very adventurous. I would love for Tammy to go take a look at it as an option. I didn't dig into any of the specs or details. Did you guys check any of that out on the Pathfinder?
Yeah. So I have the Car and Driver article up right now. It's going to have the same 3.5 liter V6 as before, but instead of a CVT transmission, it's going to have the 9-speed out of the Frontier now. So it's
Nice.
going to have an actual transmission.
Yeah.
It looks really good. I mean, they took styling cues from the original Pathfinder, which is awesome because that was a true off-road truck, body on frame. So a lot of the styling cues are from the original one. But yeah, I mean, this thing's like it seats 7. It looks roomy.
Yeah, I think it looks great.
Yeah, I really like it.
I'm looking it up right now. I didn't see that. I was enamored with the Frontier. That was all
we'll talk about that next. But I think the Frontier, regardless of body on frame or unibody, I think it is right in line with the Jeep Grand Cherokee, the 4Runner, the Cherokee, the Explorer. It's in that midsize SUV. Probably not something you're going to take rock crawling, but depending on how it's outfitted, may do the Mojave Trail and some light like adventuring. I mean, for what we do you think if they make like a suspension kit for this thing and you put 33s on it, I think it would be more than adequate. There's a picture. Let me go to where this it's Autoblog. There's a picture on Autoblog where they've got one.
They have a green one.
Yes,
right?
that's the one I'm looking at. They've got this green one that's pretty well kitted as far as off-roadability goes. It looks like it's probably got 31-inch all-terrain tires on it, a roof rack, and some lights. Yeah, dude, yeah. I think for a large chunk of what we do, especially if it doesn't have that CVT transmission anymore, a large chunk of what we do, that Pathfinder would do fine. I mean, you look at that. So there's one picture here where it's in the dunes. It's not a lot of ground clearance, but maybe if you cut out, so they've got that windscreen, that valance on the front under the bumper. If you take that off, you're probably same level of ground clearance as some of your smaller SUVs and crossovers, the Renegades or the Subarus or whatever. But now you can take your entire family out. I am sure that with some modification, you could have a lot of adventure fun in this Pathfinder.
That's like the ultimate Mojave Trail.
Oh yeah,
rig.
It's right there. It's with the GX 460, the Land Cruiser. It's you can fit 7 people or 4 people in a shit ton of gear and cruise comfortably through the Mojave without. This picture actually almost looks like it's the Mojave, but it might be edited. Yeah, I was impressed with it, and I bet the interior is going to be really nice. It reminds me, the picture of the interior, it reminds me of the Telluride, the Kia. Very similar layout with the flat dash, the flat screen, and the way the way the buttons and everything are laid out. So I don't know if there's any tie-in there, but or if that's just the styling cues of 2021. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's just a trend that's going on right now.
Yeah. But I have no idea. Did you see pricing? Any idea on pricing?
Give me 1 second.
I think
it starts around low 30s.
Yeah.
Like 31, 2000.
If that's the case, I mean, I think it's right there on par with, based on our experience with the existing Pathfinder, I wouldn't take this off the list for, if we were looking for a vehicle in this market. I like it a lot more than the previous Pathfinder. I thought the previous Pathfinder was just kind of like blah. Just,
It just looks like a taller minivan.
Yeah. There has been, over the last decade, there has been, I don't know, a dozen vehicles in that midsize SUV to small crossover that you could really take the badge off of any one of them, stick it on the other one, and you wouldn't know the difference. They're just as they're driving down, is that the Mazda or the Toyota? Is that the Nissan or the Volvo? Volvo is pretty distinctive, but I'm glad to see Nissan stepping out a little bit and taking some design cues that are a little bit more aggressive than the soccer mom SUV.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's something we've been saying for a while, is like Nissan needs to start doing something and start marketing, looking at just Googling images, 2022 Pathfinder. They're all in the dirt.
Yeah.
They're all like on some kind of a trail or something. That's a good start. Definitely.
Do you think Frank Nissan was listening to the show and that's why they decided to do this?
I think Frank Nissan, Bob Dotson got together and started. And you know what? Came up with some good ideas.
They're like, fuck CVT.
Frank calls up Bob and he's like, Bob, you got to hear these guys. They're ripping on us, man. We got to do something about this.
We're getting clowned, Bob. old Bob Dotson, dude. He's crotchety.
And I feel like they're from Chicago for some reason.
Bob Dotson?
Yeah.
Oh no, that's New York. That's a New York. That's a New York accent. So long and short,
I think it's like Minnesota, like Datsun.
Oh yeah. There you go. There you go. He's from St. Paul, the St. Paul Datsuns.
Yeah, Thousand Lakes, Minneapolis. Yeah, land of 1,000 lakes.
So the Pathfinder again. I think it looks really cool. I would love to actually go drive one and check it out. I'm curious to know. I saw that the All Terrain Nation / Nissan Nation guys were in here earlier. I don't know if they have opinions on it because they probably have way more details than we do. But it definitely is worth a check out. If you're in the market.
I might be in a market for a Frontier looking at what came out this week.
Okay, so I'm going to start by saying I think it's awesome. I think the 2021 Frontier is awesome. I am going to be the voice of a little bit of dissent here. I think it's a little Tacoma-ish. And I saw other people say that, and I think that they made a mistake by debuting it in slate gray. Slate gray has become the TRD Pro. That was for 3 years. That was the TRD Pro color. I think they should have done something a little bit different to set it apart from the Tacoma. Discuss.
I think it looks different. I do agree. There is I guess a slight resemblance to the Taco, but that thing, it's way more square and edgy and masculine. Like it looks like a truck.
I agree.
The profile looks like much more like just a square truck on a solid frame. Like, dude, I think they nailed that.
I agree. I'm not saying that they didn't nail it. I think it looks better than the Tacoma. I'm saying that debuting it in the same color that Tacoma has already kind of made their own, combined with some of
they put those flat colors, so you can't have flat color or anything.
No, I'm just saying that if I were to see that truck driving past me out of the corner of my eye, a slate gray truck, the first thing I would have thought was that's a Tacoma. Right?
All right, whatever. Okay. I don't like the color. The one we saw, they chose gray.
No, and I'm not saying they didn't do a great job with the debut or the truck itself. That was just, again, me being picky and being the voice of dissent. That was the one thing that when I first saw it, I thought, that reminds me of the Tacoma because of the color.
No, that thing reminds me of that it is. The only thing I'll say is it is like a direct shot at that market.
Oh yeah,
I think hands down, that's the best looking truck. Because I saw a couple of videos where somebody had made the comment. They liked this version because it came out as a truck. It didn't come out in a futuristic, aerodynamic, with the windshield swept back and the curves like the Ford and the
Chevy.
Yeah, this is just a square, edgy truck, and they went with that aggressive, masculine feel or whatever. And I agree. That thing just screams tough to me, and I'm excited to see how it does. I hope it carries on I believe its well-founded reputation as a solid, well-built truck.
Oh, I totally agree. I think as long as it doesn't have any box, as long as it doesn't come out with any significant issues, for the first run, which it shouldn't. Jose made the point the other day when we were talking about it that drivetrain has been out for the last year, right? As long as
the 2020 Frontier, right?
Yeah, as long as it doesn't have any significant performance box, I think they knocked it out of the park. I think the interior looks fantastic. The Pro 4X version that's got these it's gray and orange. And I'm a fan of orange. I think it's a beautiful truck, and the one thing that I think will determine its success is pricing. Where are they going to price this?
So Matt, if you're in the market for this truck, what do you think the appropriate price would be for this thing?
I think before we saw that truck, this is how impressed I am by just the looks, the stance. There's just there are certain things before I go into pricing that I will give the Tacomas, even stock. They kind of have a lifted look, and it's like the clearance between the wheel and the well, and that has the stance that works for it. When I saw this truck, it was like, boom. Oh, wow. They got that look, that aggressive look. And I would have said prior to seeing it, they got to go for the Pro 4X. They still got to be middle market. It's got to be a deal, or whatever.
Like you could to press up, right?
Yeah. Not now. They can go whatever price. Once you start seeing those on the street, I think they're going to be pretty hot. People go for, something that looks good, and that looks good on the trail. That looks good in the parking lot. That looks good if you're going to dinner, whatever. That looks like a top dollar truck. And if they wanted to put it up, I don't know what's like the high end, like the Pro 4X. 45, 47, something like that.
Well,
it's going to be that high?
Well, that's what I'm hoping not. Like the TRD Pro, I'm on the Toyota website right now. A TRD Pro starts at $44,175.
But this is a Tacoma or TRD off-road competitor, not a TRD Pro.
That's where I'm kind of going with this. They don't have the TRD off-road.
They don't have the TRD Pro version yet. And I think. What I think they're going to do is they're going to come out with a Nismo one, which has all those parts they came out with, a few months ago. Those Nismo performance,
the bumper,
and those shocks, the upgraded shocks. I think they're gonna come out with that maybe a year after this one comes out.
So maybe that at 45.
Well,
maybe that one will probably be at 45, but this one right now, Pro 4X, dude, I can't see it being above 40 grand.
Well, the TRD off-road I found starts at 35. So I think for them to be considered in the market, they've got to be at 35 or below. Here's what I think they need to do. And I'm no marketing or pricing scientist. If you go out and you look at someone's got $35,000 and they want a mid-sized truck. They have the tried and true Tacoma that's got all of the aftermarket support, all of the other. They've got hundreds of them out there. They've got all the community. I can buy that for 35, or I can take a chance on this new thing because I don't know much about Nissan. There's a certain portion of the population that will go that route, but the bulk of the population, if it's the same exact price, I think they're going to go with the more known entity, the Toyota, right? So I think to compel people to leave that brand or Ford or Chevy and come to the Nissan, they have to start lower than those vehicles, and then they'll end up doing what the Kia Telluride did, and all the dealers will jack up $10,000 on top of MSRP once they run out of inventory.
I think that's what's going to happen.
So I hate to say it, but
get one early?
Yeah, I was gonna say I hate to say it, but if you want one, jump on it quick, because if it's 6 months, a year down the line, and they know that these things are flying, they're not gonna deal on them. Like I said, we had the conversation a year ago about the Telluride, the experience we had there. The dealer's like, I don't need to deal with you on this. If you don't buy it, somebody else will in 10 minutes.
So I think, but that's you kind of hit the nail on the head. Toyota already, even if Toyota came out with a brand new truck tomorrow, it would have aftermarket support.
Yeah.
2 weeks from now, you'd be able to buy everything for it. And Nissan doesn't have that advantage.
Not yet.
But that is kind of something they have to try and how does that happen? Does that truck have to come out like hotcakes?
No.
And everybody starts seeing them on the trail and like, well, we got to make bumpers for this thing, and it's got to be at shows. Man, I saw the lifted Frontier. It looks so sick, and and that's how you get the ball rolling.
I think that happens right now. I think right now companies that make products for the Tacoma. Again, I'm no scientist here, But if I am a DeMello Off-Road or an Icon or one of those manufacturers, and I say I've been building Tacoma products for how long, and I'm in a market with 15 competitors that are doing Tacoma products, I look at this thing and go, you know what? People are going to be on this. It's going to start small, but it's going to grow. There's no competition in the Nissan space. And if the previous generation had any indication, this thing's going to go for 15 years. This version is going to go for a long time. If I get on the bandwagon now, start developing products now, they could be out in front. How often does that happen? When you look at all of the Jeep manufacturers, all of the Toyota manufacturers, all of the full-size truck, how often does a new vehicle, a new platform show up for you to build an entire new customer base from? It doesn't happen very much anymore. Every Chevy Silverado is an iteration of the Chevy Silverado. This is one of the few vehicles. The Bronco would be another one where there's very little predecessors to this, and this is a whole new platform to build from. And being a manufacturer of parts, you can be in the front of that wave or wait 2 years from now when everybody else has already done their scans and their R&D.
So how does Nissan take advantage of this? Like they have to like fund, or like
they have to promote.
Exactly. But they have to pay to have the bumpers and the lift kit, somebody to fab something so you could see 5 or 10 of these trucks at different shows.
I don't think they need to do that. So I have it on some authority that Ford, as an example, partnered with several people in the community, influencers and product providers, and those people had access to and will have access to long-term vehicles prior to most. So there are people in the world today that already have a Ford Bronco or that are going to have one delivered before anybody else. Those people are going to be promoting it on Instagram. They're going to be doing testing. They're going to be doing that. What Nissan needs to do, in my opinion, is go to a DeMello. Yeah, go to a DeMello Off-Road, go to a White Knuckle, go to an Icon and say, I'm going to loan you one of our brand new Frontiers for 6 months. Do whatever you want with it. Build it, wheel it, bash it, whatever you want. And in that time, those companies can start to develop product and then learn about how good this product is going to be. And I really think that's the thing, is basically lease 6 month to a year leases, like almost free for these companies, and go have at it. Let me know what you think.
I mean, I guess if that's how it works, then somebody put in a phone call to Bob Dotson. I mean, we know we got names, right?
I don't know that that's how it works. I'm just saying, if I was Bob Dotson's nephew or Frank Nissan's cousin, I would say, hey, dude, this is what you need to do. But honestly, I think once they get it out into the market, if they are serious about making this a platform that aftermarket builders can build on, and look at the lines of that truck. I mean, there's no way you can't say that thing's not begging for some enhancements. Like, not that it's not beautiful, but I'm just saying.
Some of the bumpers that I've seen for Frontier, that I've looked into, would look amazing on that truck. It like the lines just it almost look like factory, some of the stuff that I've seen. So it does scream, please bolt some parts on me.
Yeah. Yes. I can picture a set of sliders, and then on the bumper, there's that gray and silver skid plate looking thing. If that piece came off, that center piece came off, you leave the gray fascia, the factory fascia there, and built like a swooped up skid plate off of that thing, dude. It would be awesome. Adam.
What's cool about this too is it's the same it's the same chassis as Matt's. So all the current lift kits and Titan swap will swap over to this thing. So the first thing I think to do would like someone to get this thing and do a Titan swap right away just to see what it will. It's a free long travel kit from factory.
Well, why are we talking about, quote, someone that's going to get this? I happen to know someone that's in the market for a vehicle.
Yeah, but there's options out there for those people.
Yeah, those people are looking at a Honda Civic.
I'm just saying there's options. But
I think this truck is, again, as long as it's priced appropriately and they don't have any hiccups in delivery or drivetrain or whatever, I think this is going to do really, really well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, it's all predicated or, on that durability. It's gotta still have that. If it comes out in something stupid, I don't want to bring up things, but yeah, if it ends up having something dumb like shifting issues or whatever, and that becomes like the big bugaboo, that word gets out. Oh yeah, that Frontier looks amazing, but you heard about the transmission problems.
So you're using that as an example, but that's the new Cherokee. When the new Cherokee came out, that's exactly what happened. The new Cherokee had all kinds of transmission issues with the electronic shifting, and then they had to put them on hold, and then they had to swap transmissions out of a bunch of them that were already produced and reprogram and everything, and that knocked back the sales of that Cherokee by years. Right? They can't afford this.
Yeah, but that's the rub with Tacoma, that it's always hunting for gears. That it's underpowered and it hunts for gears. Like, that's what every Tacoma owner knows about. Either they have to re-gear right away, once they put like 31s or 33s, they have to re-gear, or else the transmission just keeps hunting up and down.
Yeah, so I'm saying you get me one of these new Pro 4X, let me kick the shit out of some Tacomas wherever, and that'll start the ball rolling. Absolutely. The only thing, there are things that the negatives were like they didn't really increase the towing much, which. Dude, you can still tow like 6,500 pounds or something, which is
but who really tows with this shit?
If you're really worried about towing, you're gonna buy a full size. I mean,
right?
Exactly.
Both the Ranger and the Gladiator have. I think the Gladiator's higher than the Ranger on towing capacity, but that was a big thing on the Ford was the towing capacity. I'm never gonna tow anything that much. Like I'm not gonna tow a fifth wheel. Like, you know what I mean? If I was gonna be towing that much, I would go buy a full size.
Dude, sorry to cut you off, Matt.
No.
A large percentage of people never even tow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see that it had like the 360 view for rock crawling?
Yep.
Once you go into 4 low, it'll click the camera so you can see all the way around. That's pretty trick.
Yep. I think it's beautiful. I think they did a great job.
It has, I don't know if you also noticed in the interior, everybody's going about the orange trim throughout. They nailed it. Orange trim.
Yep. Yeah. You had said, what was it, 2 years ago? Yeah. All you got to do is put some orange trim on the inside, and it's a brand new car.
That's it. Brand new interior. Giant screen.
I think their main goal was for this truck to look tough, and they definitely hit it out of the park. They achieved the goal. It looks tough, dude. The interior has those sharp lines in it. The exterior has the same. It looks like a tough truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I time swap it to look tougher.
Yeah. So this is probably blasphemous, but as I was super, super excited about the Bronco, super, super excited. If I was legitimately in a position where I was like, okay, I'm going to buy a new vehicle, I would really have to consider this with the Bronco. I have just as much excitement and confidence in this thing as I would the Bronco. And I think the Bronco a comparably equipped Bronco is probably going to be a lot more money.
Yeah, it's going to be like $50,000.
Yeah.
For something similar to this.
Yeah.
Or same features, but.
Well, you get 35 stock on the Bronco, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like there's definitely pros and cons to both. The Bronco the Bronco's going to have the aftermarket support already because of the way Ford has already put it out into the world. And Ford is releasing it with aftermarket. You can buy all of the off-road accessories from the Ford dealership now.
I don't know. I'm a little suspicious on some of the tech. I'm always like suspicious of technology, but
because you don't know how to use it.
Well, I don't think Ford does either. Like, I wouldn't trust Ford to put it in the right order or put it right. Just seeing like all that stuff in that video, they were, and look at all this, these new shocks we've designed. All right, dude, well, when I blow them because I'm going to get, a little too crazy out on the Mojave Trail, do I have to go buy, there's no I doubt there's any aftermarket support. I just, Sexy Dave and the Colorado specifically is like, dude, that's like a death nail almost. Like I have zero interest in the Colorado now, just from that. And I think I was there when he blew him out. Frontier was right behind him. Like this is before I had Icon anything. Yeah. So it wasn't like he was doing anything that crazy. So I'm suspicious of that. And again, the videos I saw on the Frontier, they kind of said this as a negative, but it's still like a hydraulically controlled steering, like mechanical steering. It doesn't have an electric assist, meaning in the video as a negative, it's not going to have driver assist or whatever.
Yeah, but I like that.
Exactly. Yeah. I like that. I like the tried and true. Oh, you're still this. It's the same drivetrain. It's the same, frame and everything, box frame. And a mechanical, yes. Give me the bigger steering wheel, and the bigger screen and the bigger motor. All the great things, the great styling, and you're keeping the things that I like about your trucks. They're still simple.
Damn, you guys are convincing me to get this now.
I'm telling you.
I'll give you a ride to the dealership.
Oh man, that would bum me out, Jose.
Oh, dude, Jose, I'll make you a deal. If you get one, I'll go with you and trade the Bronco, the Ranger in, and get one too. And then we can drive to Matt's house.
Oh, my God, I would hate
that would be, and then we would change this to Nissan Nation.
Get the name back.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I would do it. If you guys did it, then I'd have to do it.
Four-sided Trident or four-sided
quadrant.
Quadrant or pitchfork, whatever you want to call
Ninja
it.
Star.
Yeah.
We're a four-pointed Ninja Star.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know what else they could have done to entice people to look at this truck. I mean, it is a really, really nice looking truck. I'd love to sit in it. Once the time comes, sit it in and see what it's like on the road.
Imagine that truck stock. That's how aggressive and great that truck looks. 3-inch lift, 33s. It's over. That thing's dominating
100%,
sales.
100%. And I've admitted that the Ford, like the stock Ranger, I'm not a huge fan of the stance or the way the stock Ranger looks. When you level it out and put a little bit of wider stance on it with some meatier tires, it completely changes that truck. 100%.
The stock Ranger looks like a work truck.
Yes, 100. Yeah, it does. It looks like a utility truck. Like some guy gets out of it, puts on a hard hat. I think this stock looks way better than the Ranger does. Way better than the Tacoma does. To your point, Matt, you lift it a little bit, put some bigger tires on it, it'd be amazing. The question's going to be, when will you be able to lift it? What products will be available, and how much are they going to cost? So the difference, I can go buy a Ford kit or a Tacoma kit off the showroom right now at 4 Wheel Parts. Where
you can buy a Frontier kit now. It's like limited to 1 or 2 companies.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess there are some available. But
Perry said, from Trailchasers to New Frontiers.
Oh, damn it. Well, if I get a new Bronco and Jose gets a new Frontier, Matt, you can't get a new Frontier. You're gonna have to get something else. We can't have 2 of the same vehicle.
Jose's not getting a Frontier.
Ooh, a gauntlet thrown, Jose. I think that sounds like a challenge.
Okay, all right.
You know what though? That would I honestly, I just want to see. I wish I could be that guy that had that the first Frontier you saw on the trail and that was lifted, and you just went, "Oh my god, game changer! I saw this Frontier lifted. I gotta have it." This taco.
Because people are like, "What is that?" They're gonna be like, "What is that truck?"
Yeah, exactly. And it's gonna have. It already has more horsepower. It already. Rear locker, all that stuff. You're putting a lift on it, so you're already taking it to the next level suspension wise, at least the way I would want to do it. And there's just you're doing everything you can do in a Tacoma with more power in a much better looking truck. Probably comfortable. That's another knock on the Taco is it's not a comfortable truck.
100% agree. That was part of the reason I didn't buy one. But
dude, I'm on NetSpec right now. Titan swap is $2,700.
But I mean, we personally know from your experience between Matt and Casey that this stock Frontier Pro 4X will go everywhere we need to go without any additional lift or suspension or tires or whatever. Well, I take it back. You put a set of Nexons on this thing and some white knuckle sliders on it, and it would be unstoppable because you'd have the side panels protected to get over the obstacles that required a little bit bigger tires. I think this thing will be a dominating force if Nissan can get it into the hands of enough people. That's what it comes down to.
You got to see in the first couple of months that they come out, you got to see them on the trail. You got to see them doing it.
They got to promote the shit out of it too. Like, you know how Tacoma, when they came out with like every year they come out with TRD Pro, like little movies showing them like climbing volcanoes or going up to the Arctic Circle. Like they got to do that with this. Whatever, they should hire us and we should do like a trip to
reach out to your uncle Fred Nissan and see if you can make that happen.
No, my uncle is Chewy Nissan.
No relation.
Man.
Well, we'll see. Does anybody know when they're available?
It was
late summer, so August, September time frame.
So the same time the Bronco comes out.
Why would they do that? Why would they do that? Like,
what do you mean for that? I think the same time the Bronco comes out?
Yeah,
because it's probably not the same buyer.
It is. I think it is. No,
I think there are going to be people. There are going to be people like me that can go either way. That's what she said. But no, if you're this is competing with Ranger, Tacoma, and Gladiator, Colorado to some extent. The people that are buying the Bronco are competing with the JL, the 4Runner. Yeah. It's an SUV market. It's not this, which is, in all honesty, as much as I would love to have a Bronco, I am concerned about going back to an SUV, not having a truck. That's the one thing that concerns me about the Bronco.
And that's what's appealing to me is like I want and need a truck.
Yeah.
If they price this right, like you guys said, in the 36 to 38 range or what have you,
dude,
it jumps right past Colorado. It jumps right past the Ranger, and I don't know how many Gladiators they're selling, but it goes right at the Tacoma for sure. Mm-hmm. Like right after the.
I think I heard someone say they're having issues selling Gladiators because they're so expensive. But I don't know. I didn't look into it, so that's all hearsay.
I don't imagine that they're competing with the Broncos or SUVs. They are definitely 100% going after Tacoma. I think Ford, the Ranger is right there. And to your point, Matt, like the Colorado has been around for a while and it got huge kudos when it first came out about this is going to be the best off-road truck. You see 1, 2 every once in a while. There's more Rangers on the trail now than there is Colorados, and the Colorado's been out for 3 years longer.
Yeah, agreed. But they pigeonholed, and this might be the same thing with the Bronco with those shocks, like with that suspension setup. I think that's at this point now, like nobody stepped up and gave them an aftermarket option for the Colorado, and that's a problem. If you're just stuck with that setup.
Yeah, but those shocks are so good, dude. I mean, they're good. Like
they're good until they blow.
Oh yeah, there are issues, but when they work,
I'm good when I work. But how often do I actually do that? This makes me want to start an aftermarket company to start making parts for the Frontier right now, so that
a laser scanner, so we can scan the part when I get it.
Yeah,
and
I have a laser pointer. I have that laser pointer. I also have a laser level, or I could shoot like mark ceilings and stuff like that. So it's something. I got lasers.
Start there.
All right. So
your dad has an awesome set of tools, right?
Yeah. Which one of you is going to buy this?
Apparently, both of us.
Yeah. I don't know. You know what? I don't want to say it's not possible. It might be possible.
The Nissan's right down the street from my house, dude. Literally like a mile away. Yeah,
that would be the that would be the hardest thing. If I, you know how it is. If you go to
don't go.
Yeah, then it's over, because they train those salesmen to like look into your eyes and know, oh, this douchebag, he's buying it. I just got to lean on him a little bit. I just got to go take him over to the, whatever part of the driving test drive area, and this sucker's going to buy. So it looks great. I'm sure it's going to look great when I see it in person for the first time. And it's just going to be trying to avoid the dealership, It'll
look great in your driveway too.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I am looking forward to seeing one of you guys get it, and so I can test drive it and then go from there. But we talked about it last week a little bit. Like I'm not in a hurry to get rid of the Ranger. I absolutely love that truck, and I don't. The only reason I would get this or a Bronco was to have something new and shiny. That's the only, and I don't know that I financially need to do that. Is that a responsible move at this point? I don't. Now, if Jose gets this thing, or Matt gets this thing, and I can't keep up with him anymore in the Ranger, maybe. But we'll have to see how that goes. But I think this is an awesome truck, and if you're out there looking, you should definitely give this one a look.
No doubt.
All right, guys, I'm yawning. I'm super tired. It is 8:45. So, yeah, I'm not going to make it much farther. All right, well, everybody in the chat room, appreciate you hanging out. Thank you to Billy for coming tonight, and thanks, Tim, for the voicemails. Appreciate it. We will talk to you guys next week.
And thank you for listening. Thank you to Max and Taya. Thank you to Icon. If you want to be on the show, call 951-394-DOPE. Thank you to Ryan Terena with all of the music.
Welcome to the Trailchasers podcast.
This episode is presented by Nexen Tire. We love the Rodian MTX tires, and we're super happy with the way they perform. If all goes as planned, next week we're going to have Kevin Jones on the show to talk about how the Rodians did on his KOH run. Come check us out next week. And then go to Rodian... Son of a bitch. If all goes as planned, we're going to... Oh, fuck. You know how it's like you're fine, and then once it goes off the rails, you're fucking done. I can't even speak for the rest of the fucking night.
Yay!
Accoutrement.
Oh shit! I was great, and then I ad-libbed and it f***ed it up.
For a fucking moth.
This is what happens when it's 9 o'clock and it's been a long day. 3, 2, 1.